All right. Let's make sure we're on. If you're on here, I see a couple of people are tuning in already. If you're on, go ahead and leave me a little comment. Let me know that you can see me and hear me while I do a quick check. It looks like the audio's fine. Can y'all see me and hear me? Hey, Ellie. Hey, Ruby. Hey, Amy. Hey, Carla. Okay, good. I think y'all can see me. Hey, Ruby. All right, somebody says they can hear me. You see me and hear me. Okay, great. So if you can hear me, but you can't see me, go ahead and maybe refresh the page. Sometimes that'll kind of kick it in once I go on. Great, awesome. Kathleen from Southern California. Oh, I bet the weather is nice. We're actually headed to California later this month. I'm going to be going to Los Angeles. My husband and I are taking a trip to a business trip actually to source fabrics for my new garment sewing patterns, tutorials, and courses. So I'm excited about that. But that'll be fun. All right. Hey, Kay from Jacksonville, practically a neighbor. How are you? Go ahead, and if you want, leave me a comment. Let me know where you're tuning in from. We actually have Organizer Club members. I think we're up to like 25 or 26 different countries. I get a lot of emails. People will ask me when I do my clubs like, oh, I live in the UK or I live in Sweden. Can I join? And I'm like, absolutely. That's the good thing about the internet, right? With video courses and PDF and everything is digital. So we can all connect just via the web. Awesome. Hey, Claudia. Ooh, Leesburg, Florida. That's another neighbor. South of me. New Hampshire. Wow, we got people tuning in from everywhere. Now, if you can't stay for the whole studio chat here, this is actually a private one just for Organizer Club members. So what we'll be talking about here is just about Organizer Club. And today I'm actually going to do, believe it or not, a quickie tutorial. I'm going to try to be on here for no more than 30 minutes or so. And I think I'll be able to fit the tutorial in. It's so quick. And all of you will be able to make it because you have all the supplies if you've done the 4-zip organizer. And with 1 yard of clear vinyl, now the clear vinyl that you buy at the store, if you've watched my video courses already, I recommend 8 gauge or 4 gauge vinyl. And so, let's see, 4 gauge or 8 gauge vinyl, the higher the gauge number, the thicker the vinyl is. I recommend a somewhat thick vinyl. It just makes it easier to sew with because it's a little bit stiffer. The thin stuff, as it goes through the underneath the presser foot and the feed dogs pull it, it really just stretches. I mean, it's like a thin plastic film. It's going to be a headache to work with. So go with 4 gauge at the thinnest. 8 gauge is good. You can go up from there. It's just going to be a little bit stiffer. And sometimes if you're making a project that you have to like flip things out like we did in the road trip project bag, it's not, I mean, it's really going to be like super duper stiff. Okay, so 4 gauge or 8 gauge. Now this stuff comes at 54 inches wide on a big roll. I buy mine at my local Joann's. And if you get 1 yard, meaning 36 inches, by the full 54-inch width, you're going to have plenty for all 7 of the projects in the Organizer Club. So know that, okay? And you'll have, you know, obviously to make a couple of some of the different ones that feature the clear vinyl. So the project that I'm going to teach you how to make today actually uses a little chunk of clear vinyl. And it's so quick and easy. It's going to be like, wow, let me crank a ton of these out. All right. So first, a couple of housekeeping things. Let's just go over some of the club stuff. The high definition video resolution. We've had a lot of new members join in the Organizer Club, meaning a lot of you were not members of my Bag of the Month clubs or the Wallet of the Month clubs. And so maybe you're not too familiar with exactly how the videos work, how we host them and things. And so I'm going to put a screenshot here up on the screen for you to see, because this is a picture here. Any of the videos in my clubs, okay, we're specifically talking about the Organizer Club. So this here is a picture from the Zip Away Organizer, which was one of the bonus videos. Every single video in the course has this little gear icon. It looks like a little wheel or a little gear. When you click on it, when you're in front of the video, okay, on your iPad, your computer, whatever it is, this list is going to pop up for you. And so it's set to auto, which is automatic. It's supposed to basically play the video back at whatever definition your internet will let you, okay? But it's automatically set to go to the highest possible. So a lot of you will see that it'll start to play in 1080p HD. So if it gets choppy or it's slow or it plays for 2 minutes and then stops, it's because it's buffering. based on your internet connection. You're going to probably have to lower the definition, meaning pick a lower number on here, because standard definition really does use up a lot of internet. And if your internet is not fast enough for it, you'll have to click one of these lower numbers so it can play in standard definition. So 540p, 360p even, and that's going to help you stream the videos a lot smoother, which I know a ton of people have already done it and it works fine. Now, some people are still having problems with the videos being choppy or slow or buffering, and we've been working with everybody from the company that hosts the videos to my web people, and none of us have been able to recreate the error that you all are getting, that some of you are getting out there. So it can either be the browser that you're using. I use Chrome, but we've tried it on Safari, on Firefox, Mozilla, on older iPads. One of the ideas was that maybe some of you were using older devices that were outdated and it was just kind of lagging. But we tried it on super old iPads and tablets and they still worked fine, especially in slower internet speeds by lowering the definition of it. So yeah, we're still going back and forth, but we have been unable to recreate the error that some of you are still getting. So my recommendation would be to do a speedtest.net test on your computer so you can see your exact internet speed for live streaming, okay? So try that. We're still working to see if we can recreate the error. I know a lot of you that did have, problems with it playing, just lower the definition and it works. I'm still working with a couple of other people to see what exactly is the error message that they're getting, to see what else we can do. But today my web people doubled the amount of server space for the website. She didn't think that that was a problem, but we did it anyways, just to see if that fixes something else. But because we're unable to recreate the specific issue, they said that it could pretty much be anything. So I would say update all your stuff and then test your internet to make sure that it's fast enough to handle live stream videos, okay? Some people were saying that they log out and log back in. If your computer times out, meaning it goes to sleep like on laptops and iPads and things, you will have to restart it, okay? Because it's not holding on to the memory of where exactly you were in the video. And so in that case, you will have to refresh or log out and log back in to get it back up, okay? Some of you are asking about the supply kits. So we've already sold out of the supply kits for the next project. I was selling them individually, just a couple. And then most of you picked up the bundle that was kit for project 2, 3, and 4. So we bundled them up together and they're sold out. The materials and the supplies are on their way to us. So they won't start shipping till probably mid next week. And so we're going to look at the numbers again to make sure that we're fully sold out. We're ordering more, obviously. And so as soon as I have more that I know will be in stock to sell, then I'll post it. And I'll send out an email and post it on the Facebook group and all that stuff, okay? All right. Let's see. All right. So those are a couple of the things. Next thing, yeah, we were talking about the kits, okay? So we're selling those and we will get more in stock, no worries. Shipping costs. So a lot of you don't know because a lot of you are new to the Organizer Club. Whenever you buy anything from us that's a physical product and we ship it to you, it's really hard, no matter how advanced the technology is on these websites, to set it to give you the best and most accurate shipping cost on your package. A lot of them are set to automatic based on weight, and then it just goes up if you add any other products to it. Just know that we manually package the packages and ship them and print each label. So we always, and you can ask anybody that's ordered from us in the past, always refund any overage from the true and actual shipping cost if it's over $1. So anything over $1, we refund it. So some of you are like, oh, I received a refund, wasn't sure why. That's why, okay? So if the shipping cost seems like it's a ridiculous amount and you just added one more zipper or something to it, know that when we get to the order, we will refund you the overage over $1. So that's something else to clarify there. Let's see the rest of my list. The full list of supplies. We still are getting requests from people to get the full list of supplies. Yes, I know a lot of you want to buy the stuff or check your stash and see if you have it, but our clubs are not set up to give that information out up front. We show all the projects because I really don't like that mystery kind of feel when the price point is at $70 or $75 or $90. I would hate for anybody to sign up for the club and only like 1 or 2 of the projects. So instead, we chose up front to show you all the projects that you'll be making, but that's all we really show. One step from that would be, you know, the product list. Then we get requests from people who want, well, can we just get the PDF so I can look it over before we get to that project? And it's just is one thing after the other after the other. And so early on, we decided that that's how we were going to set up our clubs. We show you the projects and we release everything. You can ask anybody that's been in any of the bag clubs or wallet clubs. And then we release the PDF, the supply list, and everything when the project comes out. Okay. So I mentioned in another live stream that we did, that we don't do all the supply lists and all the stuff up front anyways, because up until the class is edited, I still make some changes. When I make it, I can fly through the project because I'm familiar with the materials. I've been sewing forever. I sew every single day. And so it's different than if I'm teaching the project to somebody who's like a super beginner who needs a little bit more in-depth explanation. So as I'm filming the course, I still make some changes to it, because if I come across something that I think to myself, you know what, a complete newbie is not going to understand this or is not going to be able to tackle this because it's kind of a tricky area and things, I will change it to make it a little bit more simplified. So I can't give you 3 months in advance the instructions, the list, and how to cut it and everything, because up until the class is posted, I could still be making little changes to it in order to simplify the process of learning on the other end. And I don't know exactly that stuff. You know, sometimes it's just like little tweaks here and there, but I don't know that until I'm sometimes filming it or sometimes editing it. Like I'll sit there and edit and I'll be like, yeah, as I'm watching it back as a viewer, I'm thinking, no, I need to change that. Let me reshoot that clip and maybe change the dimensions, excuse me, cut it down or make it a little bit bigger so the seam allowance isn't as fidgety. And so those are little things that I know on your end you can't really think about because you're not designing it and making it on the other end and teaching it on video. But just trust me that there's constant changes here and there from a teacher's perspective. And that's one of the reasons why we don't give the supplies and the cuts and stuff like that up front. Okay, so just know that. Let's see. Betsy's asking for the kits, can you send a variety of colors for zips, not all white? So we can't, because I don't have the space or the money, frankly, to buy a ton of inventory of all the different colors. Some people don't like certain colors. Some people will say, you know, in the comments of the order, I don't want orange. And it's just logistically, it's not feasible for us to be able to do that. We're like a 2-person business. And so it's easier to streamline it with white. I'm not a fan of black zippers for teaching purposes. When I'm filming, it can be super difficult to see because it's all dark. And if you're working with really light fabrics, I wouldn't throw a black zipper on there. You know what I mean? So white is kind of the standard that we go with for all of our kits for the most part. Sometimes in previous wallets or bags, we've included white and black if it's a kind of a smaller project and that fits into the budget of the kit budget. But we stick with white. What we do sometimes is that we do offer for sale separately individual colors that people can go back in and buy. But because we're not set up as a retail shop, we don't maintain the amount of inventory that somebody else might if they're just, you know, stocking a huge assortment of colors. Okay? All right. Okay. So, let me see what else I had on this quick list before we jump into the little tutorial. It's so easy. Oh my gosh. And I think it's super cute because we really, again, with organizers, it's kind of like zip pouches, right? You can never have too many, any size. And you'll see, I'll show you 2 different sizes and I'll give you the cut measurements for 2 different sizes. But you can play around with it and make it as big or as little as you want. Let's see. Oh, very important. So here I'm going to put another picture on the screen of something that I've seen has been happening lately, and then we get a bunch of emails of people asking us what is going on. So I'm going to put another image on the screen here, and in this case, this image is of the email that I sent last night. So when you receive an email from us for being an organizer of the month club member, or just my regular email newsletter that goes out to all my e-newsletter readers, okay? At the bottom of and if you're signed up to emails from other businesses and blogs and designers and stuff, you'll see the same thing because This is legally how we have to do it when we're emailing people as a business, okay? So at the bottom of the screen here, you see this red arrow. It's pointing to where it says unsubscribe. So some of you are in the club, but you have clicked this unsubscribe button because, I don't know, maybe you didn't like the email, or you didn't want to be on an email where I was sending you something. Or sometimes people will sign up for the organizer club and then don't want to get any of the other emails that I send out during the launch week when we're getting new subscribers to join. So what happens is, if you're not familiar with this, I'm going to tell you because it works for all the e-newsletters that you sign up for, is that when you click that button, you are unsubscribing yourself from every single one of my email lists. Okay? So if I sent you an email, my regular dog ears newsletter, and you click that unsubscribed yourself from all my email lists. So what happens? If you're an organizer of the month member, organizer club member, and I send out an email to all club members, you're not going to get it. And so legally, I cannot send you that email because you voluntarily chose to unsubscribe yourself. Does that make sense? So then legally in the realm of e-marketing, right, email marketing, it's considered spam, and I can't do it. So the email system that I use suppresses your email in my system, and any of the emails that I send out, even if your email's on that list, it has an X next to it and says that member is suppressed, meaning you unsubscribed yourself and now I can't reach you. So right now, I think we're up to 65 organizer club members who did that. And I unless you email me, I can't reach out to you. Okay? So email me if that's you and you remember clicking that little button, because sometimes people don't remember. But if you did that and you click that to any of the emails that I've ever sent you, the same email service that I use controls all my club emails, my newsletter, and everything, retreat list, whatever it is. And so it's just going to pull you from there. So does that make sense? So I hope for those of you that are saying that you didn't get it, you didn't get the email from yesterday, you're probably one of those 65 people who unsubscribed. So keep that in mind, okay? And that also applies to anybody's email list that you subscribe to. So if you click unsubscribe, you're off the list, okay? Okay. Let's see. Okay. Let me go back. Let me see what else I had on this quick list. So that's one. So if that's you and you unsubscribed, again, just email me, craftygemini@gmail.com, and I'll see in my email thing if I can delete you and then re-add you back. But it is, I mean, a big problem. Okay. The next project that's coming up, remember, it goes up. Some people emailed me asking on March 1st, which was yesterday, where their new project was. Remember, this club, the projects are going up on the 15th of the month, okay? So the next one up, I know you all are super excited, the all rolled up tote. Now, if you're purchasing the kits from us, I did mention earlier, I sold out, but I'll be adding more. There's still some stuff that you're going to need that's not included in the kit, and that's for the body of it. We have the Durafuse that we're using in the lining piece, but you also need, we haven't made it with foam, neither I or the designer, and frankly, I took her word for it because she makes a ton of handbags and it's going to be too much. So we didn't use the foam. Instead, I used a batting. You can use batting or fusible fleece. One of the on the thinner end of what you typically would use for a stabilizer in a bag or whatever. So no foam stabilizer, just a quick batting. And you'll see that great shape, great size. Okay? The binding on here, I'm going to tell you right now so you can mentally prepare yourself. For those of you that hate hand binding, the cleanest finish is hand binding it. Okay? You could, I suppose, do it by machine, but then it's going to limit you. Remember, we like to use these handbag zippers so that we can take advantage of the width of the zipper tape. Okay? The more you sew it by machine, the more you got to go through all the layers. So you're going to eat up some of that zipper tape. So it's not that long, really. It's just 1 strip and 2 strip. It's not like you got to hand bind an entire quilt. So give it a go, but you'll see. I'll show you how to do it in the video, of course, obviously. And then I'm super excited because y'all are going to love this one. I think you can put like almost 30 pounds of stuff in here. I put like 20 something. I mean, metal washers, every rotary cutter I have. Shears, scissors, All these super fun zippered pockets. It's gonna be amazing. So yeah, so that's the next project that's coming up. As far as when it goes up, it's March 15th in the evenings. If you've been a member of some of my other clubs, thank you for answering some comments from some of the newer club members. It always goes up in the evenings. Some people ask why in the evenings, because that gives me basically the daytime, even after dinner, to make sure that there are no glitches, everything is good, and that just basically for my business and my life, that's when it works for me to make sure that I have everything up. Plus, I'm usually up late, so if there's anything going on, I can usually stay up, troubleshoot it, email people back, answer questions, and things like that. During the day, it makes it a lot harder for me. I know that for those of you that are overseas, it often goes up when it's the next day for you, but that's just when it has to go up on my end, okay? To make sure that everything is working right, that each page that links to the videos links correctly and all that kind of stuff, okay? So March 15th in the evening, that's when that one's going to go. Nancy Lindsay says, hand binding, you're killing me. Girl, send it to me. I'll bind it for you. All right. So Deborah says you should always be able to resubscribe through a link. You can, if you can go back, for those of you that unsubscribed, if you go back and search in your email inbox and find one of my older newsletters that you have there, go back in there, you can click and then add yourself back on your own. Yeah. But again, it's not like I can send you out the next newsletter for you to then say, oh, I want to resubscribe, because you got to be resubscribed to get the next one. So if you can find an old one, then yes. All right. Okay. Ooh, where's my little list? Okay, that. Okay. I just wanted to show something. This is not part of the organizer clubs. This is just something separate. But I taught a class on this recently in my at my brick and mortar studio here at the Sewing Coop. And I thought, it's kind of like an organizer. You all might be interested. So what I did was I created a coupon code, and I will put it here up on the screen for you to see. It's for my Quilt As You Go iPad and tablet case. For those of you that have an iPad or a tablet or an iPod or a Kindle, it doesn't matter what you have, because in the video course for this, I actually teach you how to take measurements and make it. But I know a lot of the new members that have joined the Organizer Club have joined because you're looking, you know, to kind of learn new techniques and try new things. And so, check it out. So, this is what it looks like. Quilt As You Go, because the little random chunks and strips of fabric are quilted to the foam interfacing. The closure is fold over elastic. Super cute. And you can see that my iPad is in here, even in its hard case. Ta-da! So, if that's something that you're interested in, or you're kind of looking for smaller projects or other things, this is a course that I've had for several years. On my on my regular online shop. It's one of the paid video courses that I do, but I thought, you know, let me do a coupon code, because maybe the Organizer Club members would be interested in learning how to make this, because I think it's like right up your alley, right? And so you get $6 off. So I'll put this back up on the screen. You basically go to and now this is one thing to note. I'll say a couple things here. Notice at the bottom there it says craftygemini.com/shop. That's my regular online shop. If you buy the class there, you can use that coupon code. It says Club Member 6 for $6 off the course. Regular price, it's $20, so you'll get it for $14. Again, it's similar to these video lessons where it never expires. You can watch the videos whenever you want. But do know that because it's a video course and it's not part of a club, it lives on the craftygemini.com site. I know it's still a little confusing with the two websites, but I will tell you all, and you're the first to know, that I just put down the contract and deposit to have an entire new website created to combine craftygemini.com and Crafty Gemini clubs, where all your individual courses, club content, our online shop, and everything of ours will be in one place. But that's obviously months and months away. But just so you know, it's in the works. And we are working to get all that stuff put together. They'll basically be like, you can click for your clubs. You can click for your classes, like individual classes. So this class is not part of a club. Again, it's an individual course. But if you go to craftygemini.com/shop, scroll all the way down to the bottom. It's the last product in the shop page, and you'll see it there. when you go to the checkout page, you can enter that coupon code, Club Member 6, and it'll take $6 off the price of the video course for you. Okay, so I just thought I would mention that and create a little code that's exclusive to Organizer Club members. So yeah, isn't it cute though? I like it. And it's still, you can still put some other stuff in here, a little notepad, a pen, maybe a stylus to go with your thing or whatever. And it basically closes with this fold over elastic closure over the corner. I can't do this with my left hand. And over the other corner. Okay, so that was just a little mention there. Let's see. Okay. So Betsy's asking, will the Durafuse, the oversized package 60 inches by 36 be enough for all 3 projects? You're actually getting, I believe it's 2 packs of that in the kit. If you ordered the bundle that has the 3 projects, I think you're getting 2. And so yes, 2 of those will be enough for all the projects, okay? Because they're oversized. And these are actually custom cuts. I had to have Bozel cut 60 inches by 36 inches specifically for our kit. So that was a little bit pricier, but it was better for me to get because it's in one continuous chunk. And so both for this guy, it looks like it's smaller, but this whole thing is one full piece, okay? And then we use it again for the sewing machine table mat. And that's another big chunk that you need in a solid piece. So the Durafuse, because it's a crisp, non-woven fusible interfacing, doesn't quite work as like the woven fusible interfacing, where if you've watched some of my tutorials or previous videos where I like cut and use random chunks of it to piece it together and fuse it, and it still keeps the same drape, the Durafuse don't work like that because it's a little bit crisper. So if you bump them up, the fabric folds like right where it's bumped up because there's no interfacing right then. So it like it'll crease right where they bump up. So for these projects, when you have a bigger chunk, it definitely is way better to have a continuous piece that's going to go through it. Okay. Let's see. Okay, good. I'm back on here. Okay. So, and I know there's a little bit of a lag in the time of the video. I've already switched it back to my face, so you should be seeing me any second now for those of you still watching. If you're watching the recording on this, don't worry. Everything that I'm saying is still valid, relevant. You can still use the coupon code. I will keep the coupon code for the Quilt As You Go iPad cover. I'll keep it up for the entire duration of the Organizer of the Month Club. How about that? That way I'll plug it. I'll mention it again in other live streams and things like that for people that maybe are not listening in or maybe miss even the recording of this. But that way I'll send it out also in the next Organizer of the Month Club newsletter. So don't feel like you're going to miss out. You know, I'll get you the info and the coupon code one way or another. Okay. Let's see where y'all at over here. Okay. All right. What's the Pellon equivalent for the Durafuse, please? I don't know. Does somebody know what the Pellon equivalent is? I would look for something that says crisp, non-woven, fusible interfacing. Most of the times, no matter the manufacturer, it'll have in the wording, you know, 100% cotton, woven, fusible interfacing. We know that that's Fashion Fuse, and the equivalent for Pellon is the SF101. Okay? So the Durafuse, oh, somebody's asking, what does a Durafuse look like? Let me see if I have it in black here. We're using it in white, okay? But either one works. You know how sometimes interfacings and battings will come in white or in black? The idea is that you use the darker one if you're working with dark fabrics, but I'll tell you, I've used them both on both fabrics, and it's super minimal. Even on a fabric that has a light, like white background, when I use the black, you can't really tell. Unless you have maybe 2 pieces next to each other where one has the white and one has the black. It doesn't matter. But in our kits, we do include the white, okay? This is Durafuse, and let me make sure that I'm showing you. So, okay, the shiny side, you see the sheen on it? That's the fusible side. And the other side just kind of looks like more of a papery kind of side. But do you see how it's like stiffer? When this gets fused to fabric, it's nice. It's like, it's not super hard like a fabric postcard, but it gives it really good crisp body. A lot of handbag makers would use this stuff in handles and things like that. And I'm going to share with you some tips. I think that some people are not a fan of the Durafuse because they get some wrinkling. But with all fusible interfacings, the trick is in the fusing and how you do it. So in the video course for the all rolled up tote that we're going to be doing next, well, ooh, it's March already. So this month, on March 15th, when the course goes live, I'm going to share with you my tips on getting a nice, good fuse with the Durafuse, okay? So you don't have that issue. But you see how this looks? Let me see if I have the woven interfacing. Hold on. All right. This is Fashion Fuse. This is the woven interfacing. This is basically a thin cotton muslin with dots of adhesive. That's what it is. It still allows the fabric to keep its own drape. So this is often used in linings, for handbag linings, wallet linings, and things like that. The Durafuse, in this case, we're using it in the projects that we're using it in to give some more like rigidity and a little bit more body that you're not going to get with the woven interfacing. Woven is woven just like a fabric, where you can see the little threads going up and down and across this way, right? The warp and the weft. This is non-woven. So this is totally different. Okay, so hopefully that shows you a little bit of a difference. I want to say maybe Craft Fuse. I don't know all the Pellon numbers though. 809, 808. Look on the packaging when you go to the store and see that it says crisp, non-woven, fusible interfacing. If there are weights like lightweight, medium weight, heavyweight, go with the medium. That's usually the run of the mill. Don't go too heavy and you don't want to go super light either. So look for something like that that says like a medium weight. All right. So some people are saying Decker Bond, and then somebody says that they think Decker Bond is stiff or maybe too stiff. Yeah, well, your interfacings and stabilizers is a lot of personal preference too. You know, once you make the project once, you'll see like there's little baskets and little organizers that you'll make it one time. You'll be like, I think I'll use batting next time. You know, it's or like a handbag that you make and you're like, instead of the fusible fleece, I totally should have used the foam. So a lot of it is personal preference. So just give it a go. You'll see how mine turns out in the video course as I'm making it. And so visually try to kind of see the shape and the body of it, how it's coming together. And then you can, and you know, kind of decide if you're going to wing it the first one and see if you like it or decide to change it up after. Okay? So Paper Sense has a good question here. You're asking, on the projects where we use foam, does it matter if it's naked foam or should it be the Tricot fused foam? So that's a good question. So Tricot fused, I would say it doesn't matter as long as there's some quilting through it. Okay? So the Tricot's like holding it together, and that for those of you that are wondering, this is like soft and stable, the Pellon inner form. It's not necessarily a fusible kind, but she or he, I'm not sure who Paper Sense is saying that it should, you know, the one that has like the fabric on either side that's holding the foam together, or just the naked foam. So I will say that the ones that have Tricot on them tend to be a little bit more stable. But if you're overseas, like outside of the United States in another country, and you can get your hands on the regular foam that's like that without it, give it a go. You know, try it on a smaller project where I use foam and see if you get a similar outcome. Okay? All right. I said 30 minutes. It's already been 30 minutes. All right. So that's that. Let's jump into the little demo. So I won't be here too late. So here's the little pouch. I can't see it because it's clear. So here it is. I'm like looking right at it. How cute is this? Super cute. You can put anything in it. I mean, Band-Aids, some Neosporin, a little first aid kit to go for kids, you know. All you need is vinyl, a snap, and snap pliers, right? Some snap setting kit. So if you've made the 4-zip organizer, you have it. And some thread, and that's it. So for this little guy, I cut out just one piece of the clear vinyl. Again, I would recommend 4 gauge or 8 gauge. That was 5 inches wide by 7.5 inches in length. Okay? And then the big one that I'm going to show you and show you how to sew it up is 6 inches by 10 inches. Let me double check. Yeah, 6 inches by 10. Okay? So this is what we're going to start off with. All right. Isn't that cute? And I just did a straight stitch because I whipped up this sample on my straight stitch Juki back here. But the next one I'm going to show you, we're going to play around a little bit more on the computerized Juki, because look how cool. This I use gray thread, so it looks, it's cute, but it's whatever. You know, it's just a straight stitch with gray thread on it. How fun would it be to make it out of a fun pop of color thread, a variegated thread, or something different? Okay, look. Pink zigzag. Now, I kept my black bobbin in that machine, and look at this little sample. So black on the back and pink on the front. I think we're going to do zigzag. It's going to look super cute. So, are you ready for this? How easy? Watch. Let me make sure everybody can see me and hear me good. Let's see. Okay. So, here is my 6 inches by 10 inches. The idea is to create a pocket that envelops like this. Easy peasy. Okay? Let me make sure I don't have too much of a glare. But here, here, and here. That's the idea. So a couple of things. You can decide how high up you want to fold this up based on how big you want the pocket to actually be. If you want it to be smaller and you want the flap to come all the way down and snap down here, not sure why you would want that, but you could do that, okay? For me, I like a smaller flap at the top. So I want a bigger pocket and I want a smaller cover, like the flap that comes over it. Now, you'll notice that I doubled up the top. So the full length of this one was 7.5. I folded the top down a little bit. What did that do? It doubled up the layer of vinyl where the snap was going to be installed, especially this top one that's getting all the wear and tear. I didn't want it to tear right through my vinyl, which keep in mind, if you're working with a thinner vinyl, it just might. But this is actually, I think, 4 gauge vinyl. So it's not the 8 gauge. It's not super stiff. It's not as stiff, I would say, as the 8 gauge, but it's doubled up. So when I pierce the hole here to install the snap, it's doubled up vinyl. So it's a little bit sturdier and it's going to hold up better to the wear and tear of opening it. Okay. So for the bottom flap, I just fold it up once. And you can measure this if you want to. I'm pretty good at eyeballing across. So I'll give you an idea. So that way, once I'm done with it, if you like the way it looks, I'll give you the exact measurements. So I have 10 inches open, and give me a second while I just fold this up. All right. All right. So what I did was the 10-inch piece, I just folded it up 4 inches. So folded it up. So basically it's 4 because it's doubled up. And up here we end up with 2 inches. Okay. So grab some clips. Let me open my other one and grab a couple of clips. And I'm going to change the camera shot to my sewing machine so I can show you all how I'm doing it. Looking to see if I have the Teflon foot set up on that machine. I don't, but let me see if it doesn't give me too many problems. All right, so I've just clipped that folded up part to the side. The first thing you're going to do is stitch just straight down here. Now keep in mind, you can back stitch here, but because it's clear, you're going to see it. If you know your machine gives you a bunch of jumbled up thread, or you're going to use 2 different colors like mine, you may want to tone it down on the back stitching. But I don't care. So I'm going to back stitch a little bit here at the beginning of the pocket and come straight down. You can use a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You can use whatever you want. You can always go back and trim it down. Remember, it's vinyl, so it's not going to fray. And you're going to do the same thing to the other side. So just from there to there and there to there. Okay, the rest you can just leave it like that for now. So let me swap out the camera angle and let's head over to the sewing machine. Okay. All right. Somebody's asking about the snap. Oh, hey, Sheila. She's asking about the snap. It's a cam snap. I just buy them in different colors, and I'll show you when I go to install it. All right, so let me come over here. All right, turn my mic so you all can hear me. So I have selected on here a zigzag. Ah, you can see my little leggings. I made these. They're stars and they're super comfy. But anyways, random. I have this set to zigzag stitch. Let me see if I have my Teflon somewhere here. I think I took it with me on a work retreat and I left it in my organizer, one of my bags. That's all right. We'll see if we can get it to go. So I'm just going to zigzag stitch down the one side. I took off my clip. Press your foot down. I wouldn't stitch off the edge. Just try to stay inside the vinyl. And I'm going to back stitch at the end as well. Just by a couple. All right. There's one. And I'll give you a close-up shot once we get back to the table. It's hard to see where I'm lining up the needle because it's clear. Okay. All right, that already looks super cute. So for the top part, remember I want it doubled up, and it doesn't have to be so far down. You don't have to double it up by an inch because you really only need it to be doubled up where the snap is going to go, which is about 3/4 of an inch. The snap itself is about 1/2 of an inch. From end to end is about 1/2 of an inch wide. And so you just want a space a little bit bigger than that for the actual installation part, okay? So I'm just going to fold this down by a little. And sometimes it helps to crease it with your finger just so you can double that up. And so what I did on here was that I stitched the whole box with a straight stitch. So that's what I'm going to do on here too. So this is a great way to use up some of the decorative stitches on your machine to play around because it's not really going to affect the functionality of it. It's just going to be a decorative finish, especially if you use 2 different colored threads. Now what I'm looking at is I have pink here. There's black in my bobbin. So I'm going to stitch it from the outside so that I can end up with, let's see, I want the pink to be on this side. So I'm going to sew it like that so the pink comes out on top. And I'm just sewing a straight stitch. Remember, if it stays hung up in one spot, just lengthen your stitch length a little bit. I'm going to lengthen it already to about a 3.0, nice top stitching length. Pivot on the corner, turn around. So hard to see, clear on clear. And I'm going to take just a couple back stitches over those first initial stitches to secure it. And believe it or not, we are done with the sewing part of it. So let's head back over here and show you what I got. Where are my little scissors? Here it is. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to trim away some of those little threads that were sticking out and hanging out. Try not to cut your vinyl. And don't hit it with your iron either. So for this project, I already warmed up my ironing board and just ran the vinyl over it to kind of warm it through. If you haven't had a chance yet to watch the road trip organizer or any of my videos that I link to there that give you some tips on working with the clear vinyl, definitely do so because there's a lot of helpful little tips there if you haven't worked with vinyl just yet. So get rid of any little annoying thread tails. For this project, I would even be okay with putting a couple dots of like fray check where the ends of the stitching, the beginning and ends of your stitches are, just to keep that from further fraying since they are, you know, just exposed. All right, so here's what we got so far. Ooh, that's a great tip. She says, use a Sharpie to rub on the edges of the vinyl so you can see it. It'll wipe off later. And she says, test first. I'm assuming it's a she. Yeah, so that is a great idea, actually. So that's the little pouch. Super easy. And Wanda's asking real quick, what's the sewing table I have for that DX7? That is that Gidget 2 machine, or table, excuse me, the Gidget 2 table. That's what that is. And you can just do a Google search. Yes, it's a she, Patty. Okay, that was Patty's recommendation with the Sharpie. That's great. All right, so super cute. And you see, because it looks kind of really rugged, like you're just like, let me whip this together, I think that that little straight stitch line there gives it another little touch because it makes it look like, oh, is this like a legit bot pouch? You know, people that don't sew, they don't know any better. All right, so some of these threads are annoying me. So now all I need to do is make sure that I'm installing the snap correctly. So here's my open pocket. This is going to come here. So I always visually set it up so that I see that the flap is coming down. I want this part here to be an end cap. And I'm going to use this kind of pinky plum kind of color. Let me grab all my pieces. You need a male end, a female end, and 2 end caps. All right. An awl. And then you're going to need, where is it here? My snap pliers. This comes in the kit, not this, but a different, like a skinnier awl, the snap pliers, and then you can get a bundle of different snaps if you haven't gotten them any. And I think I linked to it in the page that has the 4-zip organizer where we use all these same similar supplies. Yeah. Deborah's asking, did you sew the 2 short ends or leave them open? I just flip this up and stitch down the sides. Okay? And oh, are you saying on the top here? Yeah, I stitched all the way around. So these are closed on here as well. Okay, I hope that makes sense. All right, so now we're going to install the snap. So I fold it over where I want it. And you can measure, but I'm pretty good at eyeballing. I do this stuff often enough. So I'm just going to poke a hole, not all the way through, but just through the center of the rectangular strip here. And you'll see it once I do it. So centered looks there. I hope. And then I say that and then I ruin it, right? And I totally was off by 1/8 of an inch. Oh, that's all right. All right. So this is the outside. Remember, the end cap goes installed on the outside. I'll put it on so you can see. So keep that in mind that as it comes down, that's where that needs to be. So in here, we're going to put in the male end. And I always do it in this order so that it helps me crease the second one. And that way I make sure that when this comes down, I can make the mark. And then I'll install the female end right there. And I know that it's going to be perfectly centered. So whenever you go to open or close it, you don't have to be like yanking it to one side to get it to fit. So then the male end goes on top. Get my pliers. Squish this baby into place. And then I close it. Try to do it evenly. Close. And I just press in there. Do you see how I made a little indentation? You can see it there. And that is what I use now as my guide to poke my hole for the female end. Make sure that you're only going through the one layer of the front. You don't want to pierce a hole right through the whole pocket and come out on the back end. So just be careful with the awl. Then, because this needs to close on here, the end cap goes on the inside this time, and the female end goes on the outside. And that way you have a fully functioning snap when it's opening and closing. And if you're new to snaps, you'll probably install one wrong the first time, and then after that, it'll click in your head. And then you'll be good. All right. How easy was that? Then I close it. Ta-da! And I have a little pouch. How cute is that? Seriously, leftover vinyl. You can make a ton of these, okay? And then, because it's clear, it's kind of hard to see. I'm going to put some of my little clips in here just to give you a visual so you can see how it fits. And so just play around with the size, you know, the width and the length measurement, and do the same thing. But do that doubling up at the top just to give yourself a little bit more body. So cute! Oh my gosh. My daughter's going to want this one for sure. Do you need a lot of hand strength to do the snap pliers? I'm going to say you don't. I often will press too hard and break the snaps, but I tend to have a lot, like an over-exaggerated amount of strength in my hands, but you don't really have to. So the idea is, all it does is, there's a little screw in here basically that when you just close it, all it does is squish down the plastic of the end cap through one of these guys. So that little bit that's sticking out there, let me see if you can see that. That little bit of plastic that's sticking up there from the red, okay, that just gets squished down. And because it gets squished down, it squishes to whatever that piece is, the female end in this case, and it just holds it together. So that's all you have to do is basically close this, and it's spring loaded, but it needs to, the key thing I would say, more than strengthening your hands, is to line it up correctly, because it's very tiny in there. You probably can't even see it. You see like a little thing of metal in there? That little thing has to be exactly lined up with the center of this, otherwise it's not going to work. You know, it's not going to be smashed down right in the center enough to clamp it down into place for use. So keep that in mind. All right. So Nancy says that she's used one and she's had hand surgery. It does. It looks big and bulky, but it really just comes down. It just presses into place. Wanda says she likes these pouches better than trying to find small plastic boxes for stuff. Agreed. And I mean, clear vinyl, you already seen. If you bought the yard already that you need for your projects, you're going to have a ton of vinyl left. Plus, you can repurpose things like those bags from your linen things, or even some of the ones that maybe are, if you're repurposing like clear vinyl pouches from linen sheets and things like that, if you see that they're too thin, because remember I said for the real projects, you don't want to be working with the super thin stuff that's going to stretch. If you find that they're too thin, use it for this stuff. Even do 2 layers at a time. You know, cut the 6x10, cut another 6x10, stitch that baby together just a little bit further in, and stitch it again at the seam allowance and double it up just to reinforce it. For these kind of projects would be great. Decorative stitches, the zigzag stitching, variegated thread, funky colors. I think this would be super cute for all kinds of stuff, especially for travel. Boom, boom, boom. Everything is clear. You can see everything that you need and grab whatever you need. Okay? So that is going to be the end of that. It's almost 9 o'clock. I'm going to stay here just a couple more minutes, just answer any last minute questions. But if you're just tuning in, or maybe you didn't catch the whole thing, watch it from the beginning. I did share some information about better video resolution and streaming the videos a little bit smoother. Some tips on that. Don't unsubscribe from my emails if you want to still get the emails for the club. And if you did unsubscribe mistakenly, go back and find one of my newsletters. You can click the button again to try and resubscribe yourself. And if not, just email me at craftygemini@gmail.com. And then the Quilt As You Go iPad tablet video course that I'm doing an exclusive $6 off coupon code just for Organizer of the Month members. Okay, so check that out. Great. Nancy says she loves it. She's going to make a bunch. Nikki says double it up and put sequins in between. Absolutely. Like those fun little clear I Spy pouches. Super cool. You can put little sequins. You know how they sell like the hearts and the stars, and you would just shake it around? I think that would be cute even to do on this part. Even if you didn't double it up, when you fold it under, just make this part, make sure it's wider. Do 2 strips. Leave a little open there. Pour it in on one side and finish your stitching all the way around. That would look super cute there with a little pop of color for the snap. That's a cute idea. My daughter would totally dig that. My students at my sewing coop, the kids that I teach how to sew, would love to do that too. Okay? So, I hope that you all enjoyed this little live chat here, that you'll give this project a try, and let me know if you have any quick last minute questions. And then I'm going to check out for the night. I told my kids I would go check up on them. Maybe they're asleep already, but we'll see. All right, I know there's a little bit of a delay, but I'll wait a couple minutes just to see if anybody has some last minute questions for me. Thank you. Thank you all for joining me. This was fun. Thank you. Thanks, Nikki. Thanks for that tip, and thanks for tuning in. That was fun. All right. So it looks like I don't have any questions left. I will leave this link if you got the email and you know anybody in the club that wants to watch the recording. Just have them click the link in the email. That will take them to this video. This video will not be posted on my YouTube channel for the world to see. Remember, this is a private video just for the organizer of the month club members, okay? And I'll link to this also on the website, and I'll put a link to whatever live streams that I do, so anybody that didn't catch it live can always log on to view it after the fact, okay? Papersense is asking, on zippers, do we just about always cut off the end? If so, should I buy a bit longer to give myself adequate space? Yes. I used to be super duper cheap with the zippers, and I wanted to keep every last bit, or I'd use the exact size zipper for what I needed. And what ends up happening is that you have the metal stops in there, and it doesn't look cute because you can't stitch where the metal is. And so what happens is you give yourself a little bit more space, but the stop is what stops the zipper tape. And so because you have to sew beyond it, you have the metal stop that's showing, which is not that cute, but it's not the end of the world. And then beyond that, then the zipper tape starts to open again, and then you have your seam. It's not cute. So it's easier to cut off the zipper tape like with your seam line. So you want to have some excess there. It also makes it easier when you have to open the zipper, continue stitching, if you have space to swing it off the side of your projects so it's not in your way, because sometimes you'll get little bobbles when you're trying to work it in there on the seams. And these are just things that come with doing it a lot and trying it different ways. So for me, I would say yes. If you're getting into this kind of stuff, get yourself a little longer zipper. It just makes a world of difference as far as how much of a headache the project is going to give you. All right. All right, everybody. Well, thanks again for joining me. You all have a good night, and I will let you know when the next little private chat will be for the Organizer Club members. Thanks again, and I will see you in the next class when we post the video course for the all rolled up tote. So definitely look forward to that, and keep an eye out for an email or a Facebook message or a Facebook group message post when we add some more of the kits into stock. Okay? So I'll see you all later. Have a good night.